Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so that potential buyers can learn more about the business and the seller to help them make an informed buying decision. If you would like to learn more about this business, including details like what type of business it is, how much revenue and profit it makes, and all of the assets included with the business, simply visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business's listing number, which you can find in the video thumbnail and in the description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. So without further ado, let's get into this interview. First up, let's learn a little bit about you. Can you tell us about your background in building and running online businesses?
Sure. We are a portfolio company. We own a few brands and have been for the last 8 years. Anyone that's been involved with this particular brand has been doing e-commerce and D2C e-commerce for at least a few years. And yeah, that's about it. We mainly focus on meta ads and we do a little bit of B2B, but our main expertise is D2C with running meta ads primarily.
Why are you selling the business now instead of keeping it and growing it further?
It's a very good question. As answered in question one, we are a portfolio company. This just means that we have more than one business and more than one brand. We do have a little bit of a problem in terms of acquiring good talent. And this just means that we have limited resources from time to time. We have decided that we want to reduce the amount of brands that we have. So this is not the only one we're selling. We have in particularly chosen this one because it has healthy margins and it's very consistent profit. It's also a little bit newer, which means that for a new owner taking this over, there's going to be a lot of things that can be maybe more easily optimized in terms of email marketing, Google Ads, some of the things that helps grow this business. We think it's going to be easier to sell compared to some other brands. Once you go over a certain figure, it is just harder to sell it. It's more of a niche buyer that has to come in, and they also have to be more well-versed in more areas than just meta ads, or it just requires maybe a more experienced buyer, which for us, since we want to change the strategy and want to get it done over the next 6 months, just means it will be harder to sell other brands. And that's why I've decided to sell this one in particular.
Can you describe the amount and the type of work that you do on this business to maintain it?
So every team within us, it consists of a copywriter, a creative strategist, a video editor, and a support. This project in particular has only been working with a part-time video editor and a part-time support, which again, a little bit an issue for the growth of the brand working with such limited resources, but it hasn't been a ton. Once you kind of open up the meta ads or the resources, like the assets of the actual brand, you will realize that a large portion of the performance has come from, I wouldn't call it very easy creatives to create, but it isn't something that has taken a ton of time. It's been pretty lean. I actually don't think on average there's been more than 40 hours a week put into this, which means you can even run it as a single person. The backend in terms of the fulfillment partners and the sort of fulfillment partners that can stay on, it's been very, very easy to operate. And if the new owner continues that relationship, they will have a large part of the backend taken care of, which also leaves more time to take care of some of the performance that has to do with running this business. So I would say around 40 hours. I have time of a video editor, I have time of a support lead, and yeah, that's about it.
So if you were to keep this business, what are some of the ways you would try to grow it?
The first ways we'll do is we would start paying a lot more attention to email marketing. We would add more flows. We would do more campaigns. This is a quite easy way to boost the business. It has a pretty large email subscribers list. It was activated about 20 days ago, and it's been pretty good already in terms of the performance. I would actually say very good. Another thing that's an issue is that it has no Google Ads, which means that we're now retargeting on more than just one channel, which is Meta. Yeah, typically those retargeting campaigns on Google will have a very high return. You can even go as far as actually having shopping display ads, which with the amount of traffic that this site is already getting should also perform pretty good with little to no experience. At least that's our experience on other brands as well. A lot of the performance comes from Reels, which is sort of the Instagram's versions of TikTok, which means this brand also has a huge potential on TikTok, which is also left untouched. Another good one is it has quite a bit of traffic on Amazon as well. A lot of people are searching our brand name on Amazon, which means that if you just sort of list it on Amazon, you could start getting a lot of sales on Amazon, which you would also get a lot of organic sales, because once a listing start getting a lot of reviews and a lot of purchasers, it'll start rank really good on Amazon. The good thing is you already have the searches and the traffic, so people are looking for the brand on there. So those are just 3 pretty easy ways to grow it. I would say something that isn't traffic, you need to maybe expand a bit on the product line. It's very easy to expand on the product line, luckily, with the factory that you're working with and the type of product you're working with. But this is also something that haven't been done because it is a little bit younger and in earlier stages. There's a lot of things to be done that can quite easily grow it for the stage that it's currently in. Yeah, one of the reasons we're also selling it, because it is a good opportunity for another buyer, which means it's a little bit of a faster sell. But yes.
Right. And what would you say are the biggest risks with this business that buyers should be aware of?
Depending on the buyer and how much they know about running e-commerce, e-commerce is a fast-paced business. Younger brands have less of a loyal customer base, which just means that in general, that if you don't have loyal customer base, competitors and that kind of thing can be more of an issue if they start taking a large market share. That is a risk, I would say, in general with running D2C e-commerce brands. Other risk with this model, if you have little to no experience with running meta ads, a large part of the business consists of meta ads. You should maybe at least bare minimum have a good contact. So have a contact to a media buyer or someone that's run a lot of ads in the past, whether that's agency or someone that you know personally. That is the risk that's associated with running this business, not knowing how to run it and not gaining enough edge on your competitors. So yeah.
How much support are you willing to offer the buyer who acquires this business?
Since we are a portfolio company with quite a few resources in terms of people that are experienced in this business and this business model, we would be willing to give quite a lot of support. I mean, we're not really going anywhere. We run other D2C brands. If you need help with anything, we're there. If you want to ask any questions, we're there. And yeah, we have sort of all level or all tiers of people that have been involved with whatever part of the business. So whether you want to expand to something new, we can answer some questions in regarding to that. We probably will have experience in it. And whether you just have questions to the already existing parts of the business, we are here to help with that. And I think the listing will say 30 days. We're happy to offer support in terms of just answering bare questions on whatever platform you're running to us on. So we'll always be there. It's not something like we're just running away, and we want to see you succeed with this business as well. I mean, we like the business also. So yeah, we'll be able to support quite a bit.
Are you open to negotiating something like an earnout agreement?
Yes and no. So it just depends on the situation. It's not that we need the money upfront and we are like in financial dependency on the payment. So realistically, if the payment structure is good enough, we would be happy to do an earnout just like any other seller. And it doesn't matter if you're selling a business or selling something else. It is obviously preferred to just get your money as soon as possible, because if you don't do that, you just expose yourself to risk. So it depending on who the buyer is and what the issue with the funds are, we're happy to do some sort of payment structure. As said, it's not because we necessarily need the money. It's just more of like, we don't want to expose ourselves to unnecessary risk. So yeah.
Okay, final question. If you had to put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why is your business a business worth buying?
Very good question. And also something that I think we can answer pretty well since we have bought very similar businesses. One of the reasons why we're particularly selling this one is because we have a feeling that it'll go pretty quick and the valuation of the business is more than fair. A lot of buyers will look at age when they're buying these sort of e-commerce brands, and it is a good thing to look at, but it's sometimes also a little bit misleading. So when we were looking at businesses when we were buying businesses that was maybe 4 to 6 years old, they would have typically a much higher multiple, which means that if we bought a business that was 4 years old, it would have maybe a 4 to 5 multiple on the EBITDA, which means that we would have to wait another few years, maybe another 4 years before we have our money back, which for us was a little bit problematic. Yes, if you're buying a business that's 4 years old, there's a much higher likelihood it's going to stay there for the 5th year than a business that's 12 months old is going to stay there for another 12 months. However, a business that you're buying that is 12 months old it only takes maybe 12 months or less than 12 months, depending on the multiple that's put on the business to make your money back, which means that business just needs to be there for a year before you had your money back. The other business needs to be there for 4. And in our point of view, when buying these brands or evaluating these businesses, a lot of the business that's been there for 4 years is going to have a really hard time being there for another 4 years, depending on what type of brand it is. So it's almost a little bit counterintuitive, but we think brands that have been there for a couple of years that have a much higher multiple is worse to purchase. And it isn't because it's a worse business, but it's because it's valuated differently. It's overvaluated, you could say. They overestimate how stable the business is. So when buying this business, you have sort of the momentum that it's riding on. It's very consistent in the performance. It has a very high likelihood it's going to keep performing over the next months. It's newer to the market, which means the first acquisition cost is going to remain cheaper. It's not till year 3, maybe year 4, you'll start having more trouble in the first acquisition, depending on what volume you do. But furthermore, it has a lot of growth points. If you're dealing with a business that's older, like 3 to 4 years, typically everything would have been already optimized and you're paying for that on the multiple, where here you're not really paying for it yet because we haven't added email in the sort of necessary amount. We haven't added Google. We don't have Amazon, no TikTok, and no nothing. So here you get to go immediately in, optimize and grow the business on multiple facets that is very quickly, and you'll have your money back very quickly, which just means you have your money back within a year, plus you have something that's now you could put that 3 to 4 multiple on. And yeah, you have a business that's worth a lot more. So you have a business now that's worth maybe 700 to 1.2 million, plus you already have your money back in your pocket. Yeah, that's why we're very confident it'll sell quick. And we think the valuation is very, very fair.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this business is still for sale, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business listing number, which you can find in the video thumbnail and description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll find everything you need to know about this business. So, thanks for joining us. See you next time.